From the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8.
Now, the latest news.
Kylie Conway has the latest news. The top headlines. News you can use.
Please stand by.
Sponsored by LCS Heating and Cooling. Now, here's Wish TV's Kylie Conway.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is the News 8 Daily 8 for Tuesday, November 2nd. Some cooler temperatures are in for your Tuesday. A cold start to the day in the 30s. It'll be partly sunny today with highs rising into the mid to upper 40s. And today, the next step in what will hopefully be the ending of the coronavirus pandemic. A CDC advisory committee meets this morning to consider the use of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine in children as young as 5. The final step would then be the CDC director signing off. If that happens tonight, shots could be going into arms as early as tomorrow. And this morning, the White House coronavirus response coordinator is giving us a better idea of how the process will go. Jeff Zients says that 15 million child-sized doses of the Pfizer coronavirus vaccine are already being moved from the company's freezers and facilities to distribution centers across the U.S. He says parents will be able to schedule appointments at sites, with the number of sites increasing throughout the month as more places open their doors to administer the vaccine.
So that's why we are planning on some vaccinations towards the end of this week, but the program for kids ages 5 through 11 really hitting full strength the week of November 8th.
And you've likely heard us report this on Daybreak, but the kids' version is reformulated at 1/3 of the dose. It's also repackaged with a new orange top, so it would be difficult to mix up with the adult vaccine. The Biden administration has secured enough vaccine supply to vaccinate 28 million children 5 to 11 years old who will be eligible if and when the CDC director signs off. And a federal vaccine mandate has cleared another hurdle. The Office of Management and Budget is done with its review of the rule that requires vaccinations or weekly testing in companies with 100 or more employees. The new standards include paid time off for workers to get the shot and paid sick leave if employees have side effects. If an employee chooses to go the weekly testing route, they would be required to wear a mask. It's set to start in the next few weeks. Employers who fail to comply face fines of more than $13,000 per violation. IMPD says a man was shot and killed on the southeast side late last night. Police say it happened just after 8 at the Speedway gas station on South Keystone Avenue near I-65. Right now, it's unclear what led up to the shooting, and we're also waiting to learn the identity of the victim. And this morning, 2 people are facing charges for a school zone crash that killed a 7-year-old IPS student and left her mother and a crossing guard badly hurt. We're also hearing the heartache of someone who was there. Former Daybreak traffic reporter Julie Patterson says she and a friend were out for a run that September day and saw it happen.
Terrible survivor's guilt over that. I mean, a precious 7-year-old girl with her whole life ahead of her, and, here am I. There's so many people on Washington Street going so fast. Is this because of, the work on the interstate, when the North split? That particular intersection just seems like it's always ripe for problems. And boy, that day it was.
Police say road rage led to Hannah Crutchfield's death. Investigators say 21-year-old Terrell King was chasing a 17-year-old for cutting him off, and their conflict led to the wreck. Both drivers face charges that include reckless homicide. Police say they have not yet arrested King. Federal investigators are now looking into a fire in Connorsville that may have been fueled by hate. Our Team 8 says the FBI has joined the probe into the Friday fire at the home of the town's only black town council member. Tommy Williams says he and his wife were out of town when the fire happened, and their twin boys and one of their dogs were also not at the home.
My family tends to be fairly well known in this community, and particularly the church community, and I like to think we have a good reputation here. We try to be of service to others, no matter who they are, and care about people. And to my knowledge, we don't have enemies. So if I know the person who did this, I will be completely shocked.
Williams told Team 8 he believes someone set the fire intentionally. The family lost a cat and the dog in the fire. Today, opening statements will begin in the trial of Kyle Rittenhouse. He's charged with shooting and killing 2 men during a protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin last year. The jury was completed yesterday. Officials say 20 people were selected, 11 women and 9 men. No further details were released about them. Rittenhouse has pleaded not guilty. There was also a rally outside of the courthouse during the selection process. Organizers say they were advocating for Jake Blake. He was shot and paralyzed by a Kenosha police officer last summer which then led to the protests where Rittenhouse was. The Supreme Court's review of a Texas abortion law is underway, starting with a 3-hour question and answer session. Justices are considering whether abortion providers or the Department of Justice can challenge the law. Monday's session saw wide-ranging questions, some of which indicated 2 of the more conservative justices may be receptive to the challenge from the providers, though less so of the government's case. Justice Brett Kavanaugh also raised questions of constitutionality.
It could be free speech rights, it could be free exercise of religion rights, it could be Second Amendment rights. If this position is accepted here, the theory of the amicus brief is that it can be easily replicated in other states that disfavor other constitutional rights.
Indiana and 19 other Republican-led states filed a brief in support of Texas. President Biden's domestic agenda is in limbo with a key senator withdrawing his support. Democratic leaders were trying to pass a pair of legislative packages key to President Biden's agenda. Today's House agenda, there are no plans to take up the infrastructure bill. This morning, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is vowing to press on. She tweeted last night, "The House, Senate, and White House continue to move forward with the Build Back Better Act, creating millions of jobs, delivering a massive middle-class tax cut, and lowering families' costs, while making the wealthiest few and big corporations pay their fair share." Now, progressives have said that they won't vote on the infrastructure bill until they have an agreement with Democratic members of the Senate over the Build Back Better Act. Leaders of the caucus say they still plan on supporting both, pending some reassurances.
I believe from the conversations I've had and the whip counts that we've done that we will have almost all or all of our members voting for both bills, yes. Assuming that these things get resolved. I mean, we still have a few things that are on the table to get resolved.
It all comes as Senator Joe Manchin, one of 2 Democratic holdouts on the economic bill, is outlining his concerns.
I will not support a reconciliation package that expands social programs and irresponsibly adds to our $29 trillion in national debt that no one seems to really care about or even talk about. Nor will I support a package that risks hurting American families suffering from historic inflation.
In a statement, the White House says it remains confident Biden's spending plan will gain the support of Manchin and that the plan the House is finalizing meets Manchin's tests. And President Biden plans to announce new initiatives before he leaves the UN Climate Summit today. The plan calls for crackdowns on pipeline leaks and stricter methane regulations for oil and gas companies, including new rules on existing wells as well as new ones. During a meeting with world leaders yesterday, Biden offered an apology for the policies of the Trump administration.
I guess I shouldn't apologize, but I do apologize for the fact the United States, the last administration, pulled out of the Paris Accords and put us sort of behind the 8 ball.
Biden leaves Scotland today, but the UN summit runs for another 10 days. And today there are elections in several states. Britt Conway breaks down some of the big issues and races to watch.
It's back to the ballot box with important elections happening around the country today. Some key issues facing people at the polls include COVID-19 restrictions, policing, reparations, gambling, and election voting and redistricting proposals. The votes could signal how the issues will fare in other elections. Same goes for some key races, like the Virginia governor's race, Democrat Terry McAuliffe against Republican Glenn Youngkin. The race is considered a gauge of national political sentiment headed into the 2022 midterms. Minneapolis has a police referendum on the ballot, which would significantly overhaul policing in the city. What happens here could serve as a test of the police reform movement. In the New Jersey governor's race, a win for Democratic Governor Phil Murphy would be a win for the party as a whole, since he'd be the first Democratic governor to be reelected in the state since 1977. In New York's mayoral race, it's not just about the Big Apple. Eric Adams is expected to be a lock, and top Democrats have pointed to him as a case study in how the party should go forward. In the Boston mayoral race, the city is set to make history, electing its first woman of color, Michelle Wu. Buffalo's mayoral race has India Walton, a Democratic socialist, facing Democratic incumbent Byron Brown's write-in campaign. And the Atlanta mayoral race has 14 candidates vying for the city's top spot. Now, it's all in the hands of voters. I'm Britt Conway reporting.
A judge in California says Vanessa Bryant and others involved in a lawsuit against LA County will not have to submit to a psychiatric evaluation. The civil lawsuit claims photos of the crash that killed her husband Kobe, their daughter Gianna, and 7 others were leaked by county fire and sheriff personnel. Plaintiffs say they were shared in an unprofessional setting, specifically mentioning a bar. The lawsuit seeks undisclosed damages, claiming civil rights violations, negligence, emotional distress, and violation of privacy. The trial is set to begin in February. The first college football playoff rankings will be announced tonight. This is the first of 6 rankings through the rest of the season. The top teams will be ranked based on their play through 9 games. The 4 highest ranked teams at the end of the season will meet in a single elimination tournament. The final 2 will play in the national championship game at Lucas Oil Stadium on January 10th. And Wish TV is the official local broadcast partner of the 2022 College Football Playoffs at Indianapolis Host Committee. And today is the NFL trade deadline. If the Colts make a move, it could happen at running back. With the success of Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines, our sports team says the team and Marlon Mack have mutually agreed to seek a trade. The team could use pieces from trading Mack to fill in for injuries suffered on Sunday. The Colts lost defensive end Tyquan Lewis and wide receiver T.Y. Hilton in the game against the Titans. This week is a very short turnaround.
So that's what you do. You dig deeper into that, and you keep working, and the ball will start bouncing our way a little bit in those games.
The Colts play the New York Jets Thursday night. To the Pacers, the team got off to a fast start, never looked back, beating the San Antonio Spurs 131-118 last night. It's the team's second win on the season, snapping a 4-game losing streak. Domantas Sabonis led the way with 24 points, while 5 other Pacers scored in double figures. It was Karis LeVert in his second game of the season that head coach Rick Carlisle credits for the much-needed spark.
Yeah, look, Karis adds an awful lot for us. Just not just scoring, but his playmaking ability. It just he really has some unique gifts as a playmaker as well as a scorer.
The Pacers finished their 3-game homestand with a matchup against the New York Knicks tomorrow. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. And a big downtown event will change bus service this weekend. Several Red Line stations will be closed Saturday for the Indianapolis Monumental Marathon. You will not be able to get on or off at the stations at Vermont, the State House, New Jersey, 22nd Street, Fall Creek Ivy Tech, and 18th and Meridian. Service will be limited at 18th and Capitol Avenue. If you want to ride the whole length of the route, you'll have to get out and walk a block at Park. Several regular bus stops are closing downtown, too. The closures start Saturday morning and last until the race is over around 5 in the afternoon. We have a full list of closures on our website right now. Just go to wishtv.com and look for this story under the As Seen on Wish TV section. The Postal Service is now accepting letters for its Santa program. It's now in its 109th year, fulfilling wishes of families and children in need. Organizers say if you are in need, write a letter with your wishes. The more specific, the better in terms of sizes and ages. Get them in by December 10th. Make sure you include a full return address. If you can help, the Postal Service will invite you to look through the wish lists and adopt a family. You can sign up through a link on our website. Just go again to wishtv.com and look in that same section, the As Seen on Wish TV section. The Better Business Bureau warns of scams connected to holiday decorations. They say they've received complaints over consumers receiving the wrong product. Some aren't able to return the items, receive a refund, or even contact the company. One consumer complained of ordering 2 7-foot-tall Halloween decorations, instead receiving 2 7-inch dolls that looked similar. They released tips to help consumers avoid getting scammed. The company says, do your research before you buy and be wary of deals that seem too good to be true. They also warn to not make quick purchases on social media and to always use your credit card for online purchases. Today, Lowe's in Greenwood is hosting a hiring event. The store says it's looking to hire cashiers, customer service associates, and overnight stockers. The starting pay for cashiers and customer service employees is $13 to $15 an hour. Lowe's says part-time and full-time positions are available. Today's hiring event is at store number 442 on Madison Avenue near County Line Road. Applicants can stop into the store between 10 and 3. And IT-Mate is looking into a new kind of help for people facing eviction in Indianapolis. The city is now participating in a new Supreme Court program. It's meant to help renters keep renters from facing eviction. IT-Mate's Jasmine Miner explains how it works.
Well, the purpose of the program is to really make sure that people are aware of the resources available before going through the eviction process. And while some say this is a step in the right direction, they still say there's concern over the fact that it's voluntary for landlords and evictions may happen anyways. As the pre-eviction diversion program starts today, Andrew Bradley, the policy director at Prosperity Indiana, says a key part of it is the confidentiality. Once both parties, the landlords and the tenants, agree to the program, the eviction filing becomes sealed. He says this is what can help people be able to find affordable housing moving forward. But he says there's still work to be done.
Even an eviction filing that never goes to court can carry what we call a scarlet E. When the emergency rental assistance runs out or people stop being able to apply for it, then that's where you're going to start seeing some cases rise again.
According to the Eviction Lab, which keeps track of evictions throughout Indianapolis, the city saw a drastic increase from September to October, with 298 eviction filings just last week alone. I was able to talk to an eviction attorney who says she spent all day in court. She says for the first day, it's been taking some time for the judges to fully understand how the program works. But overall, she sees this as a positive thing, especially when it comes to the confidentiality aspect of this program, because it's helping people avoid that scarlet E. I'm Jasmine Miner for Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.
Ghislaine Maxwell claims her innocence. She's Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend, accused of helping him abuse underage girls as part of a sex trafficking ring. In a plea hearing Monday, Maxwell said, "I have not committed any crimes." Federal prosecutors say they've not offered a plea deal, and her attorney says that Maxwell is not guilty, so no deal is warranted. Epstein killed himself in jail 2 years ago. The Navy says it knows what a U.S. submarine hit in the South China Sea last month. An initial investigation shows the USS Connecticut collided with uncharted underwater mountain. The impact October 2nd left some crew members hurt, and according to the Navy, the fleet commander will take the results of the investigation and then decide whether to take any other actions like discipline or further investigation. Including gender pronouns in the workplace attracts LGBTQ plus applicants. That's according to new research from Butler University. Participants who identified as part of the LGBTQ plus community looked at 2 different employee biographies for a fake company. Researchers found that the bio with pronouns like she, her, led participants to have more positive attitudes toward the company. They also found it led to a greater sense that the company would treat employees fairly. They conducted that businesses should encourage but not require employees to include gender pronouns to their bios and email signatures to improve inclusivity. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
The News 8 Daily 8 is sponsored by LCS Heating and Cooling.
Be sure to like and subscribe to this podcast.
The News 8 Daily 8 with Kylie Conway. And be sure to discover even more great podcasts now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.